Well, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for tuning in and clicking the button about frequently asked questions and common misconceptions of eXp real estate. I found that there's probably no one better to answer these questions than the one and the only, the founder, Glenn Sanford. So, Glenn, thank you for joining us today.
Hey, Brian, good to be here. Excited to be here, and yeah, let's jump into these misconceptions and things you ought to know about eXp Realty.
Well, I really appreciate it. But before we dive into that, I just want to say congratulations to you, your team, our organization on some really big achievements lately. I'd be remiss if I didn't thank you. Every time I see you, the first words out of my mouth are thank you, thank you. You've had a positive impact in my life, my family's life, the agents who have joined this company. It was really unimaginable. So, number one in the US for total transactions, that's a pretty awesome accomplishment. You got to be quite proud.
I am, yeah, 13 and a half years ago. I mean, we were doing whatever we were doing, but 100 transactions a year as a team, and that was, I'm not sure, yeah, that's probably 2009. That's probably what we were doing just because of the housing downturn. And now to think about it being, over 500,000 real estate signs a year, I mean, pretty crazy. And it's just, if you look at the model, it's really designed in such a way as to help agents scale their business without some of the brain damage that comes with starting a team or starting a brokerage. And that was the idea. So.
Yeah, and that's the first misconception I think that I'd like to lead into. So, did you say 500,000 closed transactions?
I think that was the number. I'd have to go back and look. I mean, I just know it's a boatload of transactions that we did. And
so Glenn, misconception number one, we're a recruiting company, not a real estate company. That myth would be debunked just by the mere volume of transactions that we've done.
Yeah. Well, the flip side of it is that every real estate brokerage on the planet is a recruiting company, recruiting agents that sell real estate. So, we're just, all we've done is we've taken the benefits that would normally stay with the broker owner and or the sales manager, and we've provided the benefit of actually growing the brokers to every single agent in the company. And that's, of course, what translates into the $202 million in revenue share that was shared last year. That revenue was shared off of actual real estate being sold, and the commissions and the small portion of that's earmarked for our revenue sharing program. But we're talking, $100+ billion worth of real estate. And I'd have to go look at the math, but it was it was pretty substantial, the amount of real estate that was sold to create that rev share.
Now, I don't know if this is a dumb question. Perhaps it is. I don't know if there's such a thing as a dumb question. But when you created this, when you built this model in your head and went pen to paper and then executed it and took action on it, did you envision that it would be this big back when you did that 13 years ago? Did you think this was possible?
I thought it was possible. I mean, the way I thought about it was I figured that there was at least a marketplace of 5% of real estate professionals who would be open to a cloud-based, fully mobile, fully virtual real estate platform. And we're right now coming up to 5% of all agents in the US being at eXp. But I was thinking about it as just the total addressable market being 5% of real estate professionals, and we would capture some percentage of it. I think there's closer to 20 to 25% of agents that are open to a cloud-based model now. So our total addressable market has grown substantially since 2009. But even then, 2009, I figured, well, if there's 5%, then maybe we can get 10,000 agents. So that was kind of the first goal was, does the model scale? Can we get to 300 agents? That was kind of our break even on a cash flow basis. And then, which we did, and then we add the equity component that credits some rocket fuel to the growth of the model. Sure. And we're focused on, getting to 10,000 agents. 10,000 agents initially on paper, in 2012, 2013, we figured we would be there in 2020. The person that I mentioned that to is an industry, so if I mention the name, everybody recognizes the name, but a big guy sort of following industry stats and trends. And he was like, there's no way you're going to make 10,000 agents by 2020. But Jason Gessing and I were like, we're pretty sure we'll get there. And of course, we blew that away. We finished 2019 with over 25,000 agents. So in 2020, obviously they grew to like 40,000 or something like that. So the number obviously grew substantially above what our original goal was. But we knew the model had legs, and so we figured, 10,000 we thought was a number that would naturally grow to.
Yeah. Now, when talking to agents, and we have some great teams and incredible people who have come over, but they process it. It's different. It's unique. It's out of the box thinking. So even when they see it at first, sometimes they don't see it. And some of the common misconceptions that I hear frequently are, I don't have an office. I need to have an office. That's a pretty popular one. So I'd like you to address that. I certainly could take a stab at it, but what are your thoughts on the brick and mortar, and why do agents cling to something that obviously 87,000 agents are doing just fine without that traditional brick and mortar old-fashioned model?
Yeah. So, one, if you think about, what is a bricks and mortar office? It's a tool, a marketing tool by the broker owner to attract agents to his or her office. It doesn't serve any other need in today's marketplace other than serving the need of, hey, I'm going to provide you an office. Now we're 2023. Many of those, I don't know if most, but many of those broker owners that use the real estate office as a marketing tool to attract agents are right now losing money, many of whom will declare bankruptcy, and many of whom will ultimately close their doors and figure out what they're going to do with their agents, because they recognize that we could be in a slow market for some period of time. And so there are alternative places to meet your clients. You can meet a title escrow company, a mortgage company, which still obviously have physical bricks and mortar. You can meet at a co-work, Venture X, a success space. You can meet at a co-work space. You meet at Starbucks. You can meet, crazy enough, at the kitchen table in a seller's home. So there's lots of places you can meet your customer. The question is where do you as an organization, where do you collaborate? Where do you connect with other like-minded agents and brokers? And in 2002, when I got into the business, there wasn't a great online way to do that. I built online services, worked for AOL back in the early 90s. But by the time we got to 2009, Facebook was now at private Facebook groups. It went from the college to opening its environment. There were 3D virtual workspaces. That's what we decided to adopt for a place to physically sort of go to work, and so show up in a virtual office. And so there's ways to solve for each part of why bricks and mortar might have been important in 2002 today, with all kinds of other ways to do it. So, agents will, during COVID, when agents couldn't go to an office, and there was a period of time where real estate was an essential service, but you couldn't go to the office, agents still put deals together at every brand, not just eXp. But what happened at eXp is we didn't have to figure it out over the next 4 to 6 to 12 weeks, depending on the marketplace. We didn't miss a beat from a brokerage standpoint. Agents didn't lose access to their infrastructure because they couldn't go to an office. And so for agents at eXp, we're pretty much designed for anything the economy could throw at us, short of, Amazon Web Services going down.
Right, right, right. Well said. Well said. Far better than I could have put that into words. So I will study that like a scientist. Really well said. Um, Describe the difference, when I think another misconception that I've experienced is, with some brands, they think that I'm getting profit share. This company is revenue share. And, talk a little bit, Glenn, if you don't mind, about the difference between revenue share and profit share and what why you went with revenue share versus profit share.
Yeah, so it's real simple. One, I got super attracted to the company that really pioneered and grew using profit share. I was there from 2004 to 2007, so I was there for 3 years. I saw profit share when I read the Red Book and looked at how it was designed. Initially, I was under the misconception that real estate offices were profitable. I'd went to my previous broker owner and tried to get ownership in the office, just recognizing that I was an up and comer, and so I wanted some ownership interest. I went to the Keller Williams office that I joined in 2004, and I was even on the Agent Leadership Council, open book company, got to see the financials, etc. And even though I'd recruited 184 people into the offices, I guess, in the Keller system, I found out quite quickly that many of them were not very profitable, if at all. And as a result, there wasn't much profit share. So, I had 184 people in my profit share group, which you would think would produce a fairly decent amount of profit. And there was tens of millions of dollars of real estate being sold every month because I got the profit share statement to see what that looked like. And then in 2007, when I got my 1099, it was about $6,000 I got on that group. In one office, I paid in $115,000 just in cap fees, splits, and other ancillary expenses. And so for me, I was disillusioned with the idea that profit share would actually do what was sold to me to do. And so I went back to my team office and said, guys, if we ever build a company, we're going to do revenue share, not profit share. And we promptly left at, once I vested in the Keller system. So I'm technically vested. I get a small check. I mean, it's usually less than $100 or a couple $100 each month, but I get, a small check each month from Keller from those efforts, because I do have a lot of agents still in the Keller system. But we with that same organization inside of eXp, you could do some sort of back of the napkin math that the average agent generally, and it's plus or minus, but generally you get about $500 per agent per month for agents in your rev share group. The math is substantially different at eXp versus the profit share company. So we just said, hey, if we're going to build something, let's build. We can figure out everything else, but we need to earmark a percentage of the company dollar to actually pay out in rev share. And the way that we do it today, and we've made some tweaks to the model over time, but we pay out 50% of the company dollar. The company dollar is the 20% that we take when an agent's capping. And we take 50% of that 20% and we pay it out over a 7-level rev share system. We adjust it each month. And so if you go and look at it, it's the calculations are there, and we refer to it on adjusted gross commission income, but we adjust it on the different levels. Levels 1 through 3 are adjusted slightly differently than levels 4 through 7, but we adjust them in such a way that we always pay out 50% of company dollar, regardless of any other expense that the company has.
See, it's been incredible. I can speak personally to it. I've seen it change people's lives. It's impacting my life in a positive way. And, thanks doesn't seem sufficient to you for inventing this and creating this. There are some other virtual companies out there on the scenes now I don't know if copycat's the right word, but certainly it's a great compliment and testament to you that they're creating virtual organizations and adapting by your lead. What are the biggest differences of these companies? And what advice would you give, Glenn, on anyone who might be evaluating one of these other virtual companies versus eXp?
Yeah, one, it is surprising we didn't have any competitors to speak of till pretty much 2021-ish. I think is when they, first showed up on the scene. So you think about it, I mean, that's um, 11 years or something without really anybody copying us. And the reality is that the franchise model can't copy us. There's, in fact, we saw, I think just a couple days ago, there was another lawsuit by some franchisees inside of I think the Keller system that were suing because they were being forced to change their model based on franchise agreements that they had signed, years before. And, and so the franchises can't pivot because there's, people are making sizable investments to launch local offices and physical infrastructure, and there's obligations between the franchisee and the franchisor and vice versa, et cetera. And so they don't really have a great way to pivot, which is why we've pretty much run unopposed, even though everybody says, oh yeah, Century 21 will change their model, Coldwell Banker change their model, Keller will figure out a way to change their model. All these companies will figure out a way to change their model. Well, they can't. The franchise system just fundamentally won't allow them to do that. And it's been, companies that have really copied our model, don't understand why we did what we did, quite frankly. And I say that not to put them down. I mean, they're seeing what worked, but I know exactly why our revenue share system was designed the way it was. I know the reason why our equity program's designed the way it is. I know exactly why, all of these things are integral to building a truly scalable cloud-based brokerage, for two reasons. One, I'm a business guy, tech guy, that prior to real estate. But two, I've been in the trenches selling real estate on a very high level and running teams, et cetera, which is not something that, any of the most prolific copycats have done. They come from other industries and are simply copying what we're doing. And so we're able to continue to innovate because, again, I know fundamentally what's valuable to agents. It's part of the reason why we've got strategic partnerships. We've bought some companies. We've done some things to really get into the nuances of what's going to be really cool. We've got some announcements coming out in May, which I'm super excited about some other ways that we're differentiating that the copycats won't be able to copy because we've got some intellectual property stuff. But at the end of the day, here's where I think it's agents win because of the innovation, because of new participants in the marketplace. We win, and our agents win at eXp because it keeps us on our toes when there's competitors in the marketplace, especially when we can pivot. So we're in a different position than a franchisor. If we see something that a franchise, a copycat's doing or a new entrant's doing, then we can actually do something about it because we actually have a structure that allows for innovation and iterating and creating new products and services, et cetera. The platform for us is set. We pioneered a revenue sharing program, which, by the way, if you actually break it down, it's still the best revenue sharing program that exists in the marketplace. Our biggest competitor right now has a 5-level rev share program. It takes 10 people to unlock level 2. It takes 15 people to unlock level 3. So it takes a lot more to open up just even the second level. But here's what's really unique about the eXp model. It takes no additional people attracted to eXp to open up levels 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and 7 through what we refer to as the expansion share. Meaning that if you're not big on agent attraction, but you bring in somebody who is, you get paid for their efforts even if you don't go substantially wide. Now, you won't get a huge amount, but I know what the rev share checks have looked like for some people who have attracted somebody who's really good at it. And it could be pretty substantial in its own right, just that small amount. And that's pretty powerful when you actually think about it. That everybody probably will meet some one or two people that will want to join eXp over time if they're an active, productive agent out in the marketplace. And so just that one little nuanced difference by itself makes it a more interesting model. And the fact that it goes deeper into level 6 and 7 is a really powerful part of the model too. So those expansion share, don't ever overlook that. That's a big part of the model that nobody has done. We did it. We did it day one. It's a powerful part of the model.
And certainly anybody watching this video can reach out to the person that brought you to this site. I'm happy to answer your questions and go deeper and wider. We're with the founder of eXp, Glenn Sanford. What a privilege it is to have you, Glenn. Agents are going to be watching this. They're from independents, they're from franchises, they're from brick and mortar businesses, they're newly licensees. There'll be teams watching this. Is there anybody that this company isn't for? So, in other words, when you were creating this, is there anybody that shouldn't consider eXp, or should everybody look at it? What is your thoughts on that? Who are your ideal profile?
I truly fundamentally believe that the right agents and are the agents that care about the livelihood of other agents. First of all, if you're an active, productive agent, eXp is a great platform to build your business. So, we've got luxury programs now. We've got a competitive split and cap system. We've got tons and tons of tools, marketing, otherwise, for you to go and do your business. But if you are fundamentally wired to only care about yourself, then I just prefer you not choose eXp. You might get super excited about rev share. And we've had people that get super excited about it, but they only care about it for what it does for them. And those are the types of people that I just prefer, move on. I've had to deal with those personalities. I know that the model does attract some of those, but I would rather you self-select out early because I don't think it's a good fit for you or eXp. But if you're here for the right reason, because you actually truly fundamentally care about agents, and you want to be in partnership with a company that actually cares about agents, and you're willing to roll up your sleeves with me and every other agent to continue to build the best real estate brokerage on the planet for agents, then I think this is the place for you.
Glenn, that was awesome. And I'm going to sum it up with this. I knew a few agents over here, my sponsor who stayed on me, and I'm so grateful to Dennis D'Souza who did. He introduced me to people that I didn't know. And I find that this is a company where strangers become friends and friends become family. I consider you my family. I'm grateful for this family. I've met so many wonderful people who have poured into helping me grow my organization, build my business, support other agents in my coaching platforms. It's really a culture that's so hard to put into words, but I shared this with somebody the other day. I've been part of three franchises over my career, met some great people, but like any company, you meet people that rub you the wrong way, don't really have the same values as you, and you just prefer not to do business with them. I've not met a single person at this company, Glenn, that I don't like. The culture that you have created in the conventions, in the shareholders meeting in Florida that you do annually, it's incredible. It's electric. I'm reborn again in real estate, if there's such a thing. After 30 years of doing this, I'm excited again, and You've lit my fire. So thank you so much. And on behalf of my family, our organization, all the hundreds and hundreds of agents and soon to be thousands and thousands of agents that we'll attract with your help and your platform, I'm so grateful, Glenn. Thank you for your time today.
Awesome. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate it.